Some conferences have taken that and redone it to their need. So why the importance, the little byline, living on one income? Well, first of all, people today say that you have to, both people have to work. You have to have two incomes to survive in this day and age. And I'm here to tell you that you don't. So what are the advantages of that? First of all, as I mentioned, my wife worked 4 years full-time and then part-time the rest of the time, or not at all. When our daughter was young, she was able to stay home with her, take her to violin lessons, take her to piano lessons. When school got out, be available there. She was able to do canning. She was able to save money, fix my sack lunch or to take to work. She sewed clothes, and we had a garden, and there's lots of things to do, and we saved that money, the other expense that would be related to having another job, the clothes and that type of thing. So my wife has been involved in my ministry my entire life. When we've had a meeting, and thank you, Rick, for coming. I appreciate it. That's an honor to have Rick Russell, our conference treasurer, here. My wife has been able to come to meetings when I've gone out to preach as a treasurer in a local conference. I've gone out to preach. She's gone with me, taken our daughter. She's played her violin. If I've gone to meetings during the week, she was able to go with me. So it's just been a wonderful experience. And so why isn't she here? Well, my wife has encountered a disease called lymphoma. It's a cancer. And she currently, as we speak, is taking chemo right now. Now, when she encountered this a couple months ago, she said to me that, Denny, I want you to, I feel like the devil is trying to diminish what you're doing here, going out to the churches and the conferences. So I want you to continue to do this. So I left. We live. We live in Atlanta. My daughter, she's tearing up too. We live in Atlanta, so I left on Sunday, planned to come back on next Sunday, and so I ran home last night. Surprised her, so she was happy to see me show up for a little bit. But anyway, she's feeling good. She had enough energy to make a batch of granola, and she's been out doing some sewing and watching streaming here. So she's just tired with all that chemo that she has to go through. And she's not in the hospital. She's an experimental person carrying a bag around with her, and then she goes in every day and gets the bag changed. So anyway, a little side issue there, but she's a wonderful wife. Some people say their wives are beautiful. I think it's more important they be wonderful, because beauty sometimes comes and goes. So you need to have a wonderful wife, and I do. And I see another young lady here that I recognize. I don't know if she's just checking me out or what, but oh no, oh my, oh wow. Well, don't tell them about things that you know about me. Okay, good. All right, so again, for those who are new, I am not a certified financial planner. What I'm sharing is our personal experience through the years, and I want you to study it out for yourself. When it came to retirement, I'll just mention this. When it came to retirement, I had no clue really what to do. I found these books and found a provision, I like the word provision rather than a loophole, but a provision that I could retire and then suspend my retirement and get a benefit for my wife. So we got $10,000 Social Security money as a result of that little benefit. But quietly, the Democrats and Republicans voted that out. That's no longer available anymore. But anyway, that's the importance of reading and studying for yourself. And these are some books that I found to be very beneficial. So today we're going to talk about the big things that can make or break people, that can cause a lot of expense. So buying, maintaining, and selling homes, which should be your first home or your only home if you're living on one income? The one on the right. Somebody always says, I like the one on the left. Well, being here in Carolina, Billy Graham passed away not long ago, as many of you are aware. And they had something on the internet that showed the house of Billy Graham. It was a 2-story house. And then they had Joel Osteen's house. Joel Osteen, I think, is one of those prosperity preachers, the ones who says, if you give me money, you will be blessed. Well, his house looks like this, but I think that's maybe the back building, and the other building is bigger than that. So that's his, if the internet is true, and of course we know the internet is always true, so that was the contrast between the two. But our house looks similar to the one on the right. It's a ranch. We said we wanted a one level. So, okay. So what has been our experience? Those of us who worked in the church, pastors, conference workers, we lived in 6 towns. We rented 5 houses. We bought 2 and remodeled them. We had 2 built and did some of the work ourselves. So we have a little bit of experience, not a lot, but probably more than the average person family has. Again, if you're new, the words embedded in the green are the words that you would write in the fill in the blank thing. We're in session 2. So if you got session 1, you don't have the right one. This is section 2. So the wrong decision here can have lasting consequences. It's better to own than to rent. It builds equity. You save a lot of money if you're willing to do some of the work yourself, construction or remodeling. And you always have to think about resale. Now, my daddy was a mechanic. I didn't learn too much about mechanics, but I learned a lot about building, just kind of self-taught, books, videos, YouTube. So we'll talk about that a little more, so how we can always improve and learn. What we learned, we buy a house with at least 3 bedroom. Now, let me say, when I say you should, or you should never, please understand that this is our experience. It may not apply to you, and you may have done exactly what I said don't do, or you may have not done whatever. So anyway, please understand that I'm not trying to be critical. I'm just saying this has been our experience, and this is what we found to work, and you apply it where you see fit. We like to buy a house with at least 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 2-car garage, the smallest house in the subdivision, not the largest, because that helps to pull, when you're selling, it helps to pull up the value of your house, if transfer is possible. Some people say, well, I live in the house that we were born in, but you're still going to have to sell it at some point in time. So we have to think about that. Buy a fixer-upper and give it the wow factor. Preferably not a corner lot, because people like more privacy. Somebody said in a seminar previously, he said, well, we thought the corner lot was a special lot because it gives you more property. That may be true, but it also gives visibility from 2 sides, your backyard, for people to look in, and that's not as desirable. So what do realtors say you ought to look for? 3 words. Location, location, location. Those of us who have to move from place to place, we say resale, resale, resale. We're just a passing through. So this is not our home, we're just a passing through. So we have to think about selling that. So what we continue to learn, when buying, you must first consider curb appeal. What does curb appeal mean? First impression, that's an excellent thing. First impression. Anybody else? First impression. So when you're driving your car through the subdivision and you stop at the house that's for sale, that's curb appeal. How does it look? Bango. Where is it at? Now, we have a house, just a little bit of a rise. On the other side, we see the house is is down in a valley on the other side of our street, down in a valley. Which do you think would have the better curb appeal? The one that's higher, especially the house that's down there. There's a creek running through, and it could cause flooding problems. So you need to think about curb appeal, your first impressions. But you can give it curb appeal when you're selling. You must not buy too unique a house because you will have to sell. Geodesic homes, one on stilts, log cabins. And I love a log cabin. I would like to have a log cabin. But when you're thinking about resale, you're thinking about what will fit the majority of the people out there and what would be of interest to them. So a log cabin might appeal to people retiring or whatever, but may not be to everybody. As Dave Ramsey said, the house must have good bones. What are bones? Structure, how it's built. My wife says it should be good material, and I think that's important too. But let's say you open your door to your front house, your front door, and right there is the bathroom, the guest bathroom. Is that good bones? Probably not. It needs to be maybe an open area that you walk in and you say, wow, okay? The wow factor again. So it needs to be constructed nice. Now, my wife likes a master bedroom here, and then the two guest bathrooms over here, and she likes the laundry over here, so she has to wash clothes. She doesn't want to disturb the people that may be visiting with us or whatever. So anyway, that appeals to different people. Good bones may be different to different people. Constructed well, designed reasonably well. So what we also learned the hard way, after a lot of sweat equity, you still may lose money when selling. So we went to Massachusetts, Rick. We sold our home in Florida. I worked for the Florida conference for a number of years. We sold our home, made $30,000 equity above and beyond what we had in it. So we rented a house from the conference for a while. It was a chocolate brown house, and Rick probably remembers because he was up there. But it was a chocolate brown house, but it was really worn. Single car garage, the driveway all broken up. We rented it, and there was a provision for the conference where we could buy the house, and they would make it available to us with the option to buy it back. So my wife we got there in the middle of the wintertime, and somebody had thrown a scarf down in the entryway, and it snowed, and it froze over ice, and all winter long here was this scarf that was laying at the front there, and we had to step over the ice to get to the front step. It was just not a very attractive home. My wife has dreams. I don't know if you ever have dreams, but she woke up one morning and she said, I think we ought to buy this house. And I'm thinking, oh no. But anyway, we ended up buying the house. We tore off the single car garage. We tore off all the siding on the entire house, 2-story cape. My wife and I re-sided the whole house again with cedar siding. We re-landscaped. We built a 2-car garage and put that $30,000 we made into the house. I'm sure, Marlene, you probably helped us with that too. We also remodeled the bathroom and all. So we had $30,000 in there, and we thought, well, we'll be able to get that out. When we sold the house, we lost about $3,000. Not bad, considering, but what I learned was the concept in the Bible talks about putting new wine in old skins. It should be new wine in new skins. Because sometimes you've got to consider the area that you're in, and don't put too much money into that to make it a glamorous house or a real expensive looking house. So that's one thing we learned. That even if you buy an older home, you may require major maintenance if you live there for several years. Roof replacement, HVAC replaced, rotten windows, wooden windows, water lines, septic tank, and water well. And all of those we've had in the house we're in right now. We had to replace our roof. We had to replace our AC and furnace, the water lines, the wood windows, rod, and I'll show you what we did to fix that. And in Florida, we had a well, and lightning hit a lot of times, so we had to replace that motor a few times. So the benefits of ownership: it builds equity, it gives tax deduction for interest and property tax, it gives you security of ownership, it allows you to design your style, flooring, colors, landscaping. It lets you keep your sweat equity to a certain point, as I mentioned the story. So buying versus renting. I suggest that if you buy, if you will stay in that place for 3+ years. So if you buy a house for $200,000 and you sell it at 6% realtor commission, you've just lost $12,000, assuming no appreciation and it hasn't gone down. However, if you rent for a year at $1,000 a month, you've lost $12,000 as well. So beyond that, you build equity, assuming appreciation or no appreciation. If housing costs go down, then you may have possible loss. So we bought our house in Atlanta in 2006. The price went down. We're still not back up to where it was. We're about $15,000 from where it was when I bought the house. But every year it improves a little bit because of the housing boom. Feel free anytime you have questions, comments, whatever. Responsibility, see the underline there? That's the fill in the blank thing. A responsibility of home ownership. You must pay taxes and property insurance. You have to fix things that are broken. You must replace worn out roofs, paint, plumbing. I just repainted my house. I could do that because it's a one-story house and I'm not wanting to get up on ladders very much anymore. So I repainted it and repaired stuff on it. You have to pay and abide by homeowner association fees and sometimes picky rules. Anybody here have a homeowner association fees? I see a few. Okay. We have a pretty average subdivision we live in, but people keep it pretty nice. About every 2 years or maybe 3 years, we'll pay $100 or $150 for utilities to keep the light on the sign going. So we kind of like that, especially if people keep it up. But I've been in places, and the conference has owned some rental homes, and they'll say, you left your trash can out an extra day. You're in violation of the HOA guidelines. You've got mildew in your house. You need to get that or you're in violation. You got trash or whatever. Just it can be picky rules sometimes. But you have to be concerned about selling. Now in Atlanta, they're booming. There are people saying, let us take care of everything for you. We'll buy your house for you. We'll move you and all this kind of stuff. But I always heard that there ain't nothing what? Free. There ain't nothing free. Yeah, they'll do that, but at what price will that be? So that's something you have to consider with those no worry kind of purchases. Pointers on buying a house. If it is a house, it is a house that you will make into a home. Buy with resale in mind. Don't settle for less house than you need. You will regret it. Make sure that the kitchen is large. What is the thing that women look at first in a house? A kitchen. Okay, so make sure the kitchen is large and well laid out. What do men look for? A garage. Okay, so make sure that you have that. So keep that in mind. And understand that the realtor works for the seller. They may be very personable with you, but they don't work for you. You're going to buy a house. Wayne?
Generally speaking, there are two realtors involved, and one of them works for you and one of them works for the seller.
Yes, okay.
Then you're protected, but you never want to buy from the people that work for the house seller only.
Yes. All right, good suggestion there. We'll talk about some different kind of talents that those realtors have a little bit later. Financing your home. Shop mortgage rates and possible hidden closing costs. Ask for written estimates of everything from the lender. Get it in writing so you know what it's going to cost if you go with them. Purchase a home based on the income. And again, this is my opinion. Purchase a home based on the income of the major earners, not two salaries in case one loses their job. You understand what we're talking about there. Try to do it based on one. Get a 30-year mortgage with possibility, again, this is my opinion, with the possibility to pay off earlier unless interest rate between 30 years and 15 years is significantly different. But then you pay it back on the basis of a 15-year mortgage. Now, Dave Ramsey says, and whenever I say anything different than what Dave Ramsey says, I'm going to try to point that out. But he says, never do 30 years. But what if a person loses their job? So if you've got a very expensive home, you need to make sure that you can keep up the mortgage with that. Consider adjustable rate mortgage depending on the possible length of stay. Now, I've always been told, again, we talked about yesterday about things that our parents told us and we learned about buying a used car, but I've always heard never go with an ARM, an adjustable rate mortgage. Now, my son-in-law and daughter, Dave, he likes to shop around, and he's come out really good with those adjustable rate mortgages. So if you have the ability to finagle it around, then keep that in mind. That you should never say no to that, but keep that in mind, depending on the length of the stay and where the market is and what you can get compared to a fixed mortgage. Yeah.
Because you have no idea what it's going to do next month from our economy perspective.
Yes.
And
yes.
Typically, if you're dealing with a reputable company, that like a small town company, they won't even talk to you about a car anymore.
Okay. Yes.
You need to check and make sure that you have that provision to pay it all.
Yes, because sometimes that they have to apply it towards the interest only or whatever. You want to make sure it applies to the principal. Now, this is a creative financing option. This is my son-in-law's thing. Secure a 30-year mortgage based on one income. That's the same as what I'm so far. Take the money difference that you would have paid for a 15-year mortgage and invest it in a mutual fund index stock fund. The rationale is it creates cash available fund to allow you to pay off a big chunk or all of the mortgage if needs arise due to death, loss of job, or moving, so that you do not have all your funds in real estate and are cash poor. You understand the thought there? So you take that money you would have paid on a 15-year mortgage and you invest that in the stock market, mutual funds. Okay? I had one pastor who said he put all of his money, all of his retirement in his house. All of his money in his house. And of course, if he had that philosophy, during the downturn, he would have not had anything in his retirement plan. So that credit goes to my son-in-law. You can't read it. Dave Colburn, for this out-of-the-box but logical option. Because you got to have cash to the side there, and you can pay it off anytime. Someone asked me just today, says, are you debt-free if you have enough money to pay off the loan? And I said, you're technically not debt-free if you have any debt, but it may be smart to have cash on the side to be able to pay that off if the difference between what you're making on your investment versus what you're paying on your mortgage is significantly higher. So God gave us these things to use, right? So let's use them. Some more pointers on buying a house. Have an inspection done and use that as a negotiating factor for repairs or allowances. So when you sign the dotted line and you both agree on a price, you're locked in, there's no change, right? No. You're not locked in. If you have a provision to do an inspection, you're buying a house, when you do an inspection and they say, you know, your roof is really in bad shape, there's a leak in your basement, all this kind of stuff, and you say to the seller, I need you to pay for, you know, $10,000 for the roof, I need you to pay $5,000 for the other, and if they say no, cancel and everything is void. You get out of the contract. So there's that little provision there. Now that's true on the other side too. You sell, somebody said, well, we have a contract on a house. Well, do they have a provision for inspection? It may still be subject to negotiation at that point if they refuse to do that. Check the neighborhood before you make an offer. Safety, noise, lack of garden upkeep, traffic at different times, you need to check those things. Make an offer less than what the selling price is. They pad the price expecting a lower offer. And if you're building, we're not going to cover any of that. That's a whole nother class just in itself, building. And I'm certainly not qualified to do that, even though I had built a couple of homes. Some more pointers on buying a house. One-level ranch has a more selling appeal than two. So I have a family member that could never have their mother stay with them because all the bedrooms were upstairs, an elderly mother. All the bedrooms were upstairs. Two-level home. Everything, the kitchen and the living room, dining room, all downstairs, but all the bedrooms were upstairs. So they could never stay there. So that appeals to elderly people, to parents, physically challenged. And we lived in a house in Massachusetts we had an upstairs and we had a basement. In the basement was the laundry and upstairs were the bedrooms, the spare bedrooms. So my wife was going up and down, up and down, up and down. She said, no more, in one level. We do want a basement. We don't have a basement now, but our next house, we want a basement. Tornado, have you heard about all the tornadoes? I'm thinking the Lord's about to come. You know, what is there, 25, 50 tornadoes in Ohio alone in that area, just the news. So I like to have a little protection there, a nice cool storage. Right now, we're having to go up the attic. You know those attic doors that have the skinny ladders? I'm carrying stuff up and down that thing, and I'm thinking, man, it's 9 feet down there. If I slip on this thing, it's going to be a lot, some expense, medical expense for me coming down. So we don't have much storage area where we're at. So we want a basement next place. Maintaining a home. In order to preserve the value, you must maintain the property. Do your own maintenance if possible. Keep landscaping shaped, attractive, mow, trim, fertilize, weed. Take care of the drainage. Paint every 5-7 years, whatever. Caulking. I love to caulk things. I love to prep. The prep is the most important part of painting. Whoops, what did I do? Oh, I had a button. I didn't know that button blanked out. There we go. Okay. Okay. Maintaining a home. You have to, we've talked about the maintenance there, but look there, insure for replacement coverage, not actual. So what is replacement coverage? Is that the same as market value? No. So let's say you bought a house, a fixer-upper house, and it cost $100,000, and you want to insure that. But to build that in today's dollars, with today's labor and materials, it may cost $200,000. So if you get replacement coverage, then that would give you $200,000, and you could either rebuild it back if it burned down or go somewhere else and build. And it's not subject to depreciation. Actual value is depreciating. You don't want to take the $100,000 and depreciate. Yes, comment.
Would this be an option for you as you get an insurance policy? You specifically
Yeah, you want to ask them. Just make sure. Yeah, make sure. Just ask them. Make sure that replacement coverage. Wayne?
The insurance company also tells you what replacement cost is for your house.
Okay, yes, but based on square footage
Based
in
on
that
the area,
that county, city, whatever.
what
Mhm.
materials were used when the house was built.
Okay.
They guarantee, so if it gets fully destroyed and they have to replace your house and their estimate was wrong, it's on them, it's not on you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Very good. Very good. Okay, adding value to your house. Be sure we talked about remodeling. If you're going to remodel the kitchen first, bedroom, master bedroom, bathroom, exterior appearance, landscaping. But if you can do the work yourself, you can save big on that. Some pointers on selling a house. Now you're going to sell a home, making an appeal. Give it the wow factor. So I painted. We have a brick front on our house. I painted the front door a burgundy, kind of like this color, but a little prettier, shinier than this. It just gives it that little bit of pop, just a little bit of paint. Could be very simple. Fix the eyesores, curb appeal, make sure your grass is cut, your bush is trimmed. Stage your house. How many of you watch the television program HGTV? Oh yeah, that's kind of our favorite one. And what is staging? Is what? Staging is putting some furniture in there. May not be your furniture, but if it was empty and they could bring it in, and HGTV bring furniture in and sell it. Do you think it's better to have a house with furniture in it or to be empty? Furniture in it, because empty is going to show all those little stains and the marks on the wall and the crayon, the kids did and that type of thing. So if you have something in there. Now, store the excess stuff somewhere else. We like to take to our daughter and her husband some of our stuff, because he's saying, don't bring any more stuff. We got enough stuff. But put that in the garage. Get that stuff out of the way. Don't put it in the hallway. Put it in the garage. Have a clean house. Nothing in the sink, nothing on the table, no boxes in the hall. Get rid of the cute little knickknacks. They don't care that you have 16 grandchildren. You're not going to impress them. It's going to clutter their mind. Get that stuff out of there so they can put their mind into that area. Make room for their furniture mentally. Get at least 3 realtors to give you a proposal on how much and how they will advertise. So this is something I learned. So we moved from Montgomery, Alabama to Atlanta. And there was an Adventist realtor there in Atlanta, and he said, well, now when you go back, we were buying our house with him. He was well respected. He said, go back and look for 3 realtors that do things in your area, and ask them to give you some quotes. So I'm going to give you, we only ended up with 2, but I'm going to give you a visual thing if you just look this direction. So one fella came in, and he said, I would list your house between $165,000 and $185,000. Okay? Got that kind of mentally picture. $165,000 and $185,000. A lady came in, and she said, your house and your property looks like a garden. You've got a picket fence. You've got a nice, beautiful little gingerbread shop you built. I'd suggest $205,000 to $215,000. Okay? Same house, 2 different realtors. And she said she's going to put flyers in the front. She's going to put the ad in the newspaper. And you know what it sold for? $210,000. Now, what if I had gone with this one here? The highest would be $185,000. It may have sold like that. But what is the difference in that? Let's see, $210,000, $25,000? Well, $25,000 may not be much to you, but to us, that's a lot of money. Just by selecting the proper realtor and seeing what they will do for you. Understand there are realtors that sell and realtors that help you buy. So this Adventist gentleman in Atlanta, He had been in construction before. He had built homes and rented homes. He could walk into a place and he could say, I see you have this class action suit citing on here, and here's some hardy plank. I said, huh? What is that? What does that mean? He said, so he could tell, he could give you pointers, and he helped our daughter and her husband find a home too that they like. So he helps to evaluate. That is the one you want to help you to buy the house. Now you want somebody like this lady that is a marketing person that will sell it for you. So keep in mind they're talented people. And as Dave Ramsey said, don't get your cousin Joe to do it just because he just got his realtor's license and he needs some money. You want to sell that house. You want to get as top dollar as you can. Some more pointers on selling. Understand this is not an emotional thing. It is a business. Be willing to negotiate by counter-offering even if they make a ridiculous offer. So let's say you have it listed for $200,000 and somebody makes an offer for $110,000. Should you just ignore it? No. You need to counter. What I would do, instead of coming down that far, I'd maybe say counter, instead of 200, 195. That tells them you're not desperate. You want them, and then they may come up to 180, or they're testing to see how desperate you are. There's signs in Atlanta that say, we buy ugly houses. Now, they have any like that here? Now, do you think you're going to get top dollar for your ugly house? You've already agreed that it's ugly because you're calling them, so you want to get rid of it. So you don't. So don't call those people. Don't call those people. Make sure the closing date works for you with your schedule to move. That's always a challenge. We had 2 weeks between we sold a house and bought a house, closed, bang. So we had to get in there and paint it and make all the changes and get out and all. That was quite interesting, but it worked out good. Sometimes we had purchased a homeowner warranty as an incentive for any possible HVAC or mechanical breakdown. The experts say doesn't make any difference. But I disagree, because if I'm buying a house and that's the frosting on the top that says if anything breaks down, you're going to have a year to cover it, does that sound good to you? And to some people that will appeal. So I kind of disagree with that. And it costs about $300 or $400 maybe for that. Yes?
Have you had any experience with people having either good experiences or bad experiences with that? We've heard different things where they say don't bother to do it because they won't cover it. We've heard other people say you should always do it. Have you had any actual experiences either way?
Whatever the policy says, we'll do that. If they're in violation, they're in violation of the insurance commission, whatever.
You have to read all of the.
There you go. Read the detail.
They set up stringent rules.
Yes.
If you don't follow those rules, then
That's right. There you go. There you go. Okay. So any questions on housing before we go into cars? And I know Leonard here has come just for the cars because he's a car man.
Just an observation that has served me well is making sure that you can afford the house you're getting. You mentioned some rules of thumb there. I know Dave Ramsey would say, he wants you to own a house. He says, you want to own a house, you just don't want the house to own you. And I think his suggestion is never put less than 20% down, and make sure your monthly payment is no more than 25 or 30% of your take-home.
Okay.
If you can do that, I think you have room for life beyond owning a house.
Good.
To be generous as well.
Good thought. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Sharon?
On the homeowner's warranty, our son had just bought his first small house. It needed a lot of work on it, but he had that insurance, and he claimed multiple times. One was his wiring was
Hmm.
very defaulty, and that was a $5,000 job.
Oh, wow.
He didn't have to pay for it. It was
Wow.
just in his homeowner's warranty, and he had in fact, they stopped sending him renewal notices.
I hope you heard this. Her son had the insurance, got it when they bought the house, $5,000 worth of rewiring, and
And so he still has the warranty insurance, but he keeps up with when it's due.
okay.
He pays it in so that he can keep claiming.
Very good. All right. That's one option. So it worked out well for them. Good. All right. So we're switching to cars now. We got a half an hour. Buying, maintaining, and selling vehicles. Which should be your first car or only car? Oh, okay. Come on, somebody say red. The red one. But you can get the one on the right in red too, right? So I think that's a Lamborghini. I've seen maybe one or two of them in my lifetime. Yeah, so great looking cars. Okay, so buying versus investing. Investing is the word here. Investing is something we plan to increase in value for future benefit. We buy houses, we buy stock, we buy bonds. They appreciate, they go up in value. Buying, however, is something that we think we need that we either use, we eat, or loses value, such as vehicles. They depreciate. I was talking with somebody yesterday about a vehicle. Consumer Report says that in the first year, a new car will depreciate 22% in the first year. It's better to invest than to buy. So the first thing I would do is ask myself, do I need another car? Or maybe do I need a second car? Is it because I'm tired of the old one? Is it because it's costing more to repair? Is it because I need something more dependable? Is it because I want something sporty? Want something. Remember that this vehicle only depreciates. Can I afford one now? What kind do I need? And then go on to the next step. The second thing I would do is once I have rationally, again, God gave us this thing to use, rationally determine why I need another car and what kind I need, does the repair warrant replacement? So the car I have, is it something that can be replaced, or is it going to be a continual problem? A few repairs along can be a whole lot cheaper than a loan and a car payment. So what I do, and I said I do not sell anything in this seminar, but I'm going to promote some things. And what I'm promoting is a Consumer Report magazine. Costs $30 a year. It covers all kinds of things. You'll hear me talk about this more than once. But in addition to the $30 a year and 12 of these issues, in December you get this little book. Anybody here subscribe to Consumer Report? Okay, got a few. All right, so we got some believers. But in the back of this, I told you that I'm going to save you. I'm going to give you, pay you, help you save $1,000. So in the back of this is a list of all the cars, domestic and foreign cars, for the last 6 years, and 17 frequency of repair issues on every single car, every single model of car. Okay? And I suggest picking a vehicle with excellent history and dependability and good resale. So here's what it looks like. Now, again, I'm not picking on anybody's car. I'm sure we have some people here with some BMWs, but I want you to see this, and it may be a little hard to see because some of you are way in the back, but I'll use my pointer here. So here is the 2 down arrows. That means very, very bad. Much worse than average. The 1 down arrow is worse than average. The straight line up and down is average. The 1 up arrow is better than average. 2 up arrows are much better than average. So now I'm looking at this Bavarian Motor Works, I think that's what the name is, Bavarian Motor Works, the excellent car. And I see that Series 5, and I'm just picking on one, the Series 5 has worse than average for the year 2011, much worse than average for 2012, and just average for 13, 14, 15, and 16. Now, is that a premium vehicle? So now, it's touted as a premium vehicle, but I'm going to pay a premium price for that vehicle. I may pay premium gas for that vehicle. I'm going to pay premium repair for that vehicle. And look at the repair, the things that I'm going to have to pay for that. And I was talking in my last seminar, I was talking with the father, and their son had just graduated from college, and he said, I am going to buy a BMW. Again, I'm not picking on BMW. I was just talking about one, since one here. And he bought that vehicle, and of course, premium gas, premium price, everything. And then, periodically, he had to pay a tune-up fee. The tune-up fee was $1,500 because it has to run optimally. The engine has to be in optimum shape for that to really be the vehicle it needs to be. Have you heard that before? $1,500. He said, Dad, I didn't realize it was going to be this expensive. And then if you have that, I've got a neighbor down the street from me that drives a Jaguar, a nice Jaguar. I'm thinking, yeah, I remember what the frequency of repair for that Jaguar is. like mostly bad. So now, what I buy is when I go to here, and I look at Hondas, and I look at Toyota Camrys, and I see right across Toyota Camry. Okay, here's this is 2019. It's a new book. Toyota Camry, much better than average. Much better than average, much better than average, much better than average. Is that 6? Much better than average. Now, is that the one I want? Yes, at least something like that. Now, American cars, it has the American cars in here. Some of them are really bad. And some of the foreign ones, you just have to look. Different models and different vehicles, but you can save thousands. So we've owned 6 Toyota Camrys in a row. Our last payment was $1985. We've had that much engine problem and that much transmission problem on those vehicles. And I'm going to share with you what we have done. So mentally, we have agreed that we will keep this car for about 10 years. Now, Mom and Dad told us, and we've heard that a car, when it gets to what mileage, we need to get rid of it? $100,000. 100,000. I got money on my mind. 100,000 miles. Okay, but that's where you kind of break even. It's beyond that you get the savings, the 200,000 miles. I like to get a larger vehicle for safety. I bought a small little car one time. I was just learning, and I was single, and I thought I'd save money, and I got this cheap car, and it had been smoked in, and it didn't save me any gas. It was just nasty. I got rid of it as soon as I could. But I like a larger car. We're constantly hauling things. We got to make room for the grandkids. We got to get seats, a large trunk. And Leonard, I had a friend help me to buy a rebuilt car. I thought, well, hey, this is great. So I got an Acura. Oh, it was a beautiful car. It just drove fantastic. But the color of it was black, and the interior was black leather. And we lived in Montgomery, Alabama, and it was 6 degrees warmer there than it is in Atlanta, and probably 6 degrees probably 12 degrees warmer than here. So every time you got in there, it's like you baked. So my wife didn't care for that vehicle, and even though I loved to drive it, and it worked fine, they did a good job rebuilding it, we sold it just because the heat was so intense in there. But I love that car. Purchasing a car, after you've selected the model and the year you'd think will work for you, go to www.KBB, that's Kelley Blue Book. Thank you. I got some people to help me here. Kelley Blue Book, to see what a private sale car should cost. All right, that should be your goal, to come close to pay that price, not the dealer retail price. Don't lease, no residual value, and it's more costly. And all kinds of fees, and they give you a certain amount, and you have nothing left after the 2 or 3 years you have rented that car. So what I have done is try to buy a low mileage car, maybe under warranty, still under the 36,000 miles, a used car with high dependability. And again, a Toyota, you can't do that much damage in 36,000 miles to it, because it just, so I buy a car in that area. Decide some colors that you would like. If you just go with one color, it may be forever finding it, but pick a few colors you would like, and then go to Auto Trader or some other website, and for cars in your easy driving area, go to a major dealer. Now, this is something we've learned. This is an interesting thing. Go to a major dealer. Small shops tend to buy and sell less reliable auction cars. Now, some people ask me, well, if you have somebody who can go to the auction and buy a car for you, if that's maybe fine. If they really know their business, I don't think you can test it out too much, an auction car. You kind of see it, maybe turn the engine on, and you buy it as is. Some of those are flood cars. Some of those are cars that are damaged and smoke, cigarette burns on the seat and things like that. Yes?
Don't be fooled. Major car lots, Ford, Barclay, Toyota, bid and buy cars from the auction, put them on their lot, and a lot of times if you ask them, it's a trade-in. It's not a lot of times it's not a trade-in. They have bought it from an auction just as well as the smaller car lots. The only thing is, they have deeper pockets, and they're able to buy a better line at the
Okay.
auction than
Okay.
these smaller dealers. They do buy.
All right. If not savvy, personally ask an experienced friend to help. So sometimes when you go in there, it's hard to negotiate with them. Major dealers have a reputation to maintain. So if possible, buy from a dealer that doesn't carry that brand of car new. They're motivated to sell. So the last car I bought, I went to a Dodge dealer, and I checked the Auto Trader, got several of them together, and I took a clipboard, and I said, today I'm going to buy a car. You give me your best price. I'm not very good negotiator. I don't know how to bargain and haggle. My son-in-law and his dad taught him this, but I'm not a haggler. So I just say, give me your best price. I'm buying a car today. I'm looking at 3 cars. You give me the best price. Okay. They say, we've never had anybody come with a clipboard before. Just blows their mind. They say, oh, okay. So, but we found that they don't know what that car is. Now, I like Toyota Camrys, so I go in there. I know what's there. It's got the cruise control. It's got the LEs have cruise control and the automatic windows and electric windows and this basic stuff I need. So I go in there and I look at this car and I really like, and we luxury. We decided we'd get a moonroof this time. We're getting, before we die, we need to get a moonroof. A little luxury. Talked about that yesterday. So I found one, and And I really liked it. It looked really nice. Well, he found out it had been hit in the back, so there was no tag, there was no emblem on the back. Didn't say what kind of car it was. I said, man, this car really looks nice. LE. They advertised it as LE. So I bought it, negotiated a little bit, bought it, and I took it into the dealership, still under warranty, had something done. I said, tell me about this car. What is this? And they said, well, okay, you have you have the SCE and the LE, and then there's an SE, that's the Sport Edition, and then there's an XLE, which is the luxury. And he said, Mr. Millburn, you don't have an LE, you have an XLE. I said, oh, okay, great. So I bought the car as an LE, but it's an XLE. So they don't know what it is. But if you go loaded with information of what you want, then you know how to negotiate and you know what's a good deal. Make an offer knowing that they counter offer. Know your limit and try to stay close to the private sale. If it's a perfect fit for you, spend a little more. You got to live with it. Now, I went to some of the cheaper auction cars, some of the smaller dealers, and they had some cigarette burns on the thing. They were cheap. But I said, every time I get in the car, I'm going to look at that cigarette burn. Am I going to be happy? No. So try to do the best you can and be happy with it. Rely on women's tuition. Remember, she needs to drive it too. If the spouse goes along to look, agree that how you will respond. Neither should look or act or talk excited about anything. Now, if one person says, man, this is just the car we've been looking for, what does that do to your negotiation? It's dead. So we went with our daughter and her husband and 3 grandkids. We said, children, you're going to say nothing. You're not going to say anything. You can crawl in there, you can sit on the seat, but do not say anything. So we trained them right, and they got a vehicle, and Dave negotiated them down for the van he got. But another option, I remember getting in the car, going with my wife and looking, and I was getting in the car like this. I closed the door. I don't know why I closed the door. I was sitting in the driver's seat. She was outside here, and I can see the salesman in front of the car. And the last thing I heard him say was, well, ma'am, what do you think about the color of this car? And so afterwards, I asked her, well, what did you respond? And she said, to me, it's just transportation. I said, yes. You got to work together. You got to work together. Remember that most dealers make more money on a loan, so best to shop elsewhere for a loan prior to this dealer negotiation. Maybe you get a better deal there, but do your work ahead of time. If you can't pay cash yet, try to keep the loan to 3 years. Then after the 3 years, pay yourself in savings so that you can pay cash and negotiate a cheaper price next time. So if you keep it for 10 years, you pay it off in 3 years, you can buy 2 cars for cash, right? Because you've saved for 7 years. If you have a low frequency of repair car, you don't need a service agreement, which is a big money maker for dealers. So I got to tell you this story. So we were in a Chevy dealership with our daughter and her husband, looking for a Toyota Sienna van. And so I see this Corvette here. Here's a Corvette, $60,000, brand new one. Here's a 4-year-old Corvette, looked about the same condition. $40,000. $5,000 a year depreciation for that. And I did the quick calculation. I said, okay, 5 times 40, if I bought cars and they depreciated $5,000 a year, in 40 years it'd be $200,000. That'd be your retirement, just in playing with cars. But next to that car was one $107,000. It was the supercharged thing. It had everything in there. And I looked on there, and it had a line item I've never seen before. It was called $1,300. It was called the gas guzzler tax. A gas guzzler tax. $1,300 you paid for that, but $107,000 for that. Maintaining your vehicle, you must do preventative maintenance for 3 reasons. Preserve the value, reliability, and safety. Preserve value, reliability, and safety. In reverse order, of course, we need to make sure it's safe. Change oil at recommended time yourself with synthetic. I've gone to synthetic. I used to change it every 5,000 miles, and now I got a 15,000 mile warranty on the synthetic oil. I change it every 10,000 miles. I change it when the odometer's in 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. It just helps me to remember to change it sometime around the multiples of 10 when I get in there. So I change it less often, but costs twice as much, but it saves time. Change it less often. Make sure the tires are evenly worn, balanced, and aligned. You can get an upfront fee for a lifetime service. Firestone sells a lifetime balance and wheel alignment. You don't have to buy the tires there to get that. So I buy it, keep it for 10 years. I can take it in every month and have an alignment and wheel balance done, and it costs maybe I'm just off the top of my head about $150, $60, $70 for this lifetime balance and alignment, but it costs you about half that to just do it once. So now, when you go in there, they're going to tell you your filter needs to be changed. Your wiper, whatever. So I just tell them, oh, I did that myself. And so, okay. Or you need a mechanic. There's something with the tie rod end. I don't know anything about cars, but tie rod end. I said, well, I got a mechanic. I'll take 2. Okay, fine. So that's what they try to do is sell you stuff there. But keep that in mind. Maintain the fluids, the filter, and air related yourself. That's something anybody can do. Put water in the reservoir. Yeah, you can change your radiator thing. Antifreeze oil. I do all of that. I used to do a brake job on my car, my disc brakes. I used to change calipers. Used to do the drum brake. And then later on, I found a couple of extra parts left over in the box. And I said, I wonder where that goes. Did I miss something? So I've kind of advanced and a luxury now to take it and have somebody do it for me. Maintaining your vehicle. Change the transmission and brake fluid, spark plugs at least every 100,000 miles. Check whether you have a timing belt. Some are rubber, some are chains. So you make sure you change. If it's rubber, you make sure you change it. Just look on your guideline and find out what you have. Or you can ruin an engine. Replace the antifreeze every 2 years. You can do it yourself. Get a reliable mechanic for things you can't do. Wash the car when needed. Wax it a couple times a year. Insure for liability, collision, and comprehensive, regardless of value. People say, well, when it gets down to a couple $1,000s, I don't get collision and comprehensive on it because, I'm saying, well, if I'm paying $50 a year and it crashes and I have a $500 deductible, I don't. There's still $1,500 I could get out of that, so I do it until I sell it. Now we're going to talk about selling. Sell it when it's running good, is reliable, has good value that you can honestly recommend it. Again, I try to sell it at 200,000 miles. The Toyota Camry can run 300 or more thousand miles. So get the Kelly Blue Book price for private sale. Clean and detail the inside and out. Now, is it wrong to clean it up and shine it up? No. You're just curb appeal. Yeah, you're just getting it really looking really nice. Put preservative on the vinyl and the leather and all. Yes.
I have learned that keeping it on the right basis of detail, if you total that vehicle,
Yeah.
your adjuster will give you a serious adjustment for the way that vehicle.
Oh, okay. All right. That's good.
I wish
That's
I could
good.
know that now.
Good.
Not just that, but when you go to sell it, it's a lot easier to clean it and do all that stuff then than if you wait till you go.
Yeah, because the carpet gets ingrained with the stains and all. So yeah, you got to try to keep it up. Okay, and then I take that Kelly Blue Book price and I post that in the window and I sell it myself, and people say, well, I don't want to sell it. But it'll be anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000 difference if you sell it or you trade it in. Marlene, you want to tell them? I know what it is. So Dave sold his vehicle. They were going to give him $1,500 for a trade-in. You know how much he sold it for? A little over $4,000. Just because he cleaned it up really nice and put a for sale sign. I don't know if he put the Kelly Book price in there, but he sold it. Accept cash only. Do not take a bank check, because some bank checks are fraud. Cashier's checks, some of them are fraudulent. Yes? Yeah. Okay, so $1,500, 7% of $1,500 is what? I don't know, $100? Yeah, $100 versus, yeah. That's right. You have to consider all those things, yeah. Very good. So where was I at? Cash. So cashier's checks, just because they give you a piece of paper, I want to go to the bank with them. If they don't have the $100 bills to give me, I want to go to the bank with them and get that. But best to take two people. Remember the Craigslist problems? And yeah.
It's also best to receive the cash in the bank and have the bank verify that it's cash.
Yeah. Sometimes.
I'm not smart enough to tell you if it's
Yeah.
fake or not.
I like the money in my hot hand. And usually when I sell the Camry after 200,000 miles, it's like $3,000, $3,500, something like that. It averages out about $1,000 to $1,500 depreciation a year for the use of that car. So I just like cash. Cash is good. And then I don't have to worry about it. So the new status symbol, as Dave Ramsey said, your status symbol, it is not the BMW in your garage, but a paid-off car and eventually a paid-off house. Oh, what a relief it is. Paid off. I think that's the last one. Everybody's folding up their papers, so they must have come to the end of the line here. Tomorrow, I'm going to say what evangelists usually say. You know, you don't want to miss tomorrow. If you're going to miss any, you should have missed today. But you got to be here tomorrow. Tomorrow, my daughter says, tomorrow is the fun time when you deal with all the other things and more stories. So anyways, that's what she told me yesterday. And she's heard this before. So she's heard my preaching umpteen times when I preached in churches too. So thank you all for coming. Any questions or comments? We got 2 minutes left.
I just want to make a comment.
Yes.
Maybe Dave's parents.
Yes.
For years, we drove Buicks, and they have a wonderful ride. They're big, they were wonderful. We thought that was the car for us. He said, Mom and Dad, you need to buy, and we're not promoting Camrys, but something that is less maintenance, because we had a fair amount of maintenance as the car got older in the Buicks.
Yes.
We did. We finally succumbed. And when we first retired, we bought our first Camry. It had a little issue with it, but we did not have any repairs. We bought our second one last summer. No repair. We just don't repair them. We just maintain them. So it does pay in the end, but you pay a little bit more up front for a Honda or Camry or some of those cars that are made a little bit better so that they don't break down. But in the end, you save a boatload.
And when you sell them, you typically get more money too. Yes. Phil?
The downside of that is you don't get to see your repairman very much at all.
Yeah. Sharon?
We've had 8 or 9 of the Corollas.
Corollas?
With hardly any repairs.
Okay. All right.
But
All
Toyota
right.
also has a warranty that's pretty good.
Okay. All right. I'm getting warranty things on my 2011 Camry. Says in the mail saying that your service agreement is about up. I'm thinking, I never bought any service agreement. Yeah, we'll talk about that. I don't buy any service agreements for anything. They're a waste of time. But they want me to buy that 2011. Now, I'm sorry?
You don't buy it, I don't think, with Toyota.
Yeah.
You don't buy it with Toyota.
No, you buy it for the other cars. Yeah.
I get on the bandwagon on Camrys because I own 3 and I have also Toyota Avalon.
I used to work with Leonard.
We used to work together. And so the other thing about Toyotas, it's for the price or what you pay, it's amazing. You have very little repairs throughout its history, whether you have it 10 or 20 years, like I usually do. And the residual, or not the residual, but the value at the end, like you were saying, you get a lot of money back at the end, even 20 years later. Also, if you look at Consumer Reports, and, not Dave Ramsey, but Clark Howard, the one I listen to every week, he talks about it when it comes out every year in the Consumer Reports, and generally out of 25 cars, at least 17 to 21 are Toyotas or Lexus of the top cars.
Mm-hmm.
Least expensive or least cost to maintain, et cetera, et cetera. So, very good car.
If any of you want to check out what your car is, just to know kind of your condition, you're welcome to look at my book here. Also, just an advertisement. I'm a woodworker. I'll talk about that a little later. I built an ark. It's in the ABC. I'm going to be showing it at primary department at 7:30 tonight. Noah is going to be there with his animals. And early teens, I'll be showing it there on Thursday night at 7. So anybody who would like to see that. And I have these 2 books here, but I'm not helping the ABC. I won't tell you, Rick, what arrangement we have, but I'm not helping. They're selling these less than what I got them for. All right. Well, thank you so much, and hope to see you tomorrow. Thanks for coming.
Did you know